Hi, this is Rubber Planet, the owner of Brittle Iron Gym. I wanted to give 3 tips in today's video on how to create more tightness during squats. And this would be tightness in our upper back, tightness in our core, just kind of tightness in the middle of our body that'll help us stay nice and stacked, nice and stable when we squat. The first tip is going to be creating tightness in the upper back and how to properly kind of like secure the bar to ourselves. I have a PVC pipe here, and what I want to do is show you when we're creating pressure in the bar tightness, like the bar being on us, we actually do want to pull the bar down onto ourselves. Too often people have their back kind of sort of tight, like they're pulling their shoulder blades together, and we kind of know that we should do that, but the bar is kind of sitting on top of them rather than being pulled down onto them. So the first thing we want to think of is when we're creating tightness, we want to think of pulling our shoulder blades together and then using our lats to pull our shoulder blades down. So I'm going to turn around, hopefully you can still hear me talk, but I want to have, make sure I'm in here, my shoulder blades should squeeze together and then pull down. So I want to have my shoulder blades together and down, but I don't want to do that where I would pull together and down and then arch. So I still want to keep my core nice and straight and stable. So we want to keep the natural curvature of our spine. We want to keep that all the same. So as I would stand and talk to somebody, I want to maintain that type of kind of postural position in my spine while pulling my shoulder blades back and down. What this looks like is if we have the PVC pipe, I can have it on my back, and what I would want to do is pull my shoulders back and down, and I'll be pulling the bar down onto me. So you can see how the PVC pipe is bent. I don't want to have my shoulders up and the bar just sitting on me because it's going to wobble. It's going to cause us to like roll forward when we squat. So we want to have it in place. We want our shoulder blades together and down, and we want to be pulling that bar down onto us. That's going to give us a nice stable back position. This allows us from the base of our lats up to where the bar is to be nice and stable, and therefore we're going to kind of feel tight in our positioning, and we're less likely as we squat to get kind of pushed forward or rolled forward. The second tip we have is how to brace our core. When I unrack the bar, and I'll show you here in a second, to create stability in my core, I want to mimic the sensation of stopping myself from peeing, like holding my pee. So we all can do that right now, wherever you're at, listening to the video or watching the video. Just mimic the sensation of stopping yourself from peeing, and then pull your belly button towards your backbone. Now, I don't want to do this and actually like change the position of my spine, so I don't want to pull so hard that I round my lower back. I want to maintain, again, that neutral kind of spine position, but while doing that, I would hold my pee, and I'd pull my belly button inward, and I'd have nice and stable and braced. Now you can hear I can still breathe, but it is a pretty strained feel because a lot of muscles are tight, they're flexed, and they're holding that position. If we have that, and we have our shoulder blades together and down, we have a lot of tightnesses all throughout the middle of our body, and that can hold us in place very well. The third tip, the final tip, is how do we breathe? When we load breathing in a squat, we don't want to raise our chest when we breathe. So I have a squat bar set up here. What you would see if somebody's doing this concept incorrectly is they would unrack, they would have everything what looks like it's pretty good, they'd step back, and then when they went to breathe, you'd see their shoulders lift. So they would go like that. So they'd breathe in, and then they'd pull their shoulders down. The downside of that, though, is it undoes a lot of tightnesses. We can't have our shoulders pulled together and down, and then breathe to the point where our shoulders lift. That undoes the back tightness. That's going to cause the person to round forward when they squat, or they'll overarch, and they'll lose core tightness, and they'll lose depth. And you'll notice normally that their knees would cave inward towards the bottom because they don't have their hips in a good, strong position. So, if we lose that neutral positioning, it can cause us to round forward, it can cause us to overarch, and then we don't hit our depth. So how we breathe is while our back is squeezed together and down, while we're holding our pee and pulling our belly button in, we then want to breathe into that sensation of tightness. So I can put my fingers here in my belly, and I want to breathe into my belly. So if I do this a little closer, you can see that my fingertips are touching. As I would breathe, you'll see them separate a little bit. Like that. You can see how I breathe the air down into here. My shoulders didn't lift, so I'll show you again. Like that. I don't want to go and then down, because that means we're losing that upper back tightness. So, that's our 3 tips. When you set up under the bar, shoulder blade together and down. Then when you want to create abdominal tightness, we hold the P and we pull our belly button inward. But in both of those, we never see a change in the neutrality of our spine. Then the third tip is when we breathe, breathe without your shoulders lifting. You want to think of breathing into your belly. So I'm going to pull the air in. I can start half the breath through my nose, finish the second half through my mouth, and pull the air down into my belly. Like that. I don't want to see the bar lift. If you see that, you're going to lose some tightness, and chances are something's going to go wrong in your squat. So try those 3 tips out, and I promise they'll help.